So, hello, butterflies and wolves. Today we're here with Butterfly Tea Time, sharing a much desired story in the lupus community. Emmett Henderson here from Male Lupus Warriors and also from Lupus Dream Team. Freshly back from Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa, and many of you have heard the buzz of a lot of the things he's been doing to raise a lupus awareness for the community, really highlighting males and bringing them out of the dark. Welcome, Emmett Henderson. We're so glad to see you back and healthy in the U.S.
Oh, Felicia and Delibra, thank you for having me, ladies. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you guys.
We're just so happy that you're doing all the work that you're doing. I'm going to be at Emmett's Gala, you guys. He's having a huge gala on Saturday in San Diego for Male Lupus Warriors, his first non-for-profit gala, even after that huge journey that he just did in Tanzania, Africa. And we are here to share his gala and also his story. So welcome, Emmett. How are you?
I'm doing great. Daily dialysis is where I'm at, just to fast forward on that part. So excuse me, guys, if you kind of think that I'm just a little bit off track. But if you guys have known me, have been following me, it's something that I'm getting through. And like everything else I've gone through, I will get through. So thank you for having me. I'm very pleasured and honored to share everything that has happened for me in the past couple months and what I have upcoming.
Yeah, so we're just so happy that Emmett is okay. As many of you have heard in the lupus community, he was actually sponsored to go to Tanzania, Africa, to climb the highest mountain in the whole wide world, Mount Kilimanjaro. So tell us about your experience out there raising lupus awareness for the community. We're so proud.
Absolutely. Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa. Mount Everest is the one in the world, but that's not one I plan on climbing anyway. So we just can skip that part.
Yeah.
So I was blessed to have Damien Scott and the Seven Summits of Lupus. It's what he does with his organization. He climbs and looks for the highest mountains to raise lupus awareness. And when me and him connected, he wanted me to do with him to go to Africa. I did not hesitate to say no, didn't know what I was getting into. I'm a city boy at the same time, but you know what? Anything is possible is what I believe. So if that's something that was honored to me to join, of course I'm going to join. And I did.
So how was that?
You know what? It's one of those opportunities that you consider once in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And Kilimanjaro, the hike up there was actually the bonus of the trip. The purpose of the trip was to spread lupus awareness in Tanzania. We had officials, doctors, and lupus organizations meet us in 2 different meetings in 2 different cities. And believe me, ladies, we raised that awareness. We made the international news. They were thrilled to hear what we had to offer. They heard my story. They heard what Damien had to offer with the 7 Summits of Lupus. And it was just in awe.
So what did you guys do while you were out there?
Oh, the best part, I'm not going to say the best part, but one of the biggest parts about it is that we had a 12-hour layover in Cairo, Egypt. So you guys know what that is. That involved the pyramids, the Sphinx, seeing the locals, buying souvenirs. That was so surreal, being that I grew up reading about that stuff, watching TV, seeing pyramids. Never ever thought in my world that I would have my hand on the bricks that to this day humans don't know exact of how they were built. So it was so cool. It was.
That's amazing. So you had like such a cultural experience there while raising awareness.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been to other countries visiting, vacation, but this was the first international that I got to go in person as a male lupus warrior advocating for lupus.
Wow. That's amazing. So, had a lot of the people out there actually heard of lupus before, or was this all new to them?
Some of them in the town hall that we had talked to, it was they didn't know, they've heard of it, like almost everybody here in the States as well, but not
Hmm.
everybody can tell you about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much across the board. People have heard of it, but they don't
Yeah.
really know details.
Right, right. And then finding out the stats regarding a male with lupus, nobody about knew that either. And of course, how many times have I heard you're the first one I know that has lupus, or you're the first man I heard that has lupus? I heard that a few times down there as well.
Yeah. So, talk to us about Mount Kilimanjaro and what that experience was like.
After about 2 weeks of being in Africa, of going to different cities, which one included also a resort island that was really nice. We had a chance to snorkel with Damien and his family and everything, and it was really nice. Time now was for the hike, but before the hike, we did a pre-hike, should I say, up a nice water to a waterfall destination.
Oh.
When we got to that waterfall, or on the way to the waterfall, I also noticed that my heart started beating a little bit more faster than I thought it should be. And
Hmm.
maybe I'm thinking, okay, now finally in another country, it's kind of like kicking in, or being in a total different environment. Maybe that's it. So let me pace myself. So
Yeah.
I did. But we got to the waterfall. It was absolutely worth it. I kind of forgot all about the heart pump, and I forgot everything just to sit there and be like, thank you, God, for making creations like this that I get to witness. And it was so dope. It was really, really nice. But I did feel that. And so once we got down from
Sorry. Okay,
commercial.
not yet.
So once we witnessed the waterfall, we got to experience a lunch with some locals that lived on the mountain. You know, they showed us, they fed us some their food, their culture. It was beautiful to see the kids happy dancing.
What did
It was
they
such a
feed
beautiful
you?
thing, huh?
What kind of food did they feed you out there?
Honestly, I really didn't know what it was. I just trusted it and I tasted it, and it
Was
was
it good?
it was delicious. It was good. And plus, walking up that mountain, we needed some fuel, something to eat. And so it was very good. It was good. They
Wow.
probably explained it to me, but by then, and everything that I've been through by then, I honestly don't remember everything. And we'll
Yeah.
get into a lot of this stuff of what I don't remember and what had happened, but it was a beautiful
Right.
thing.
Yeah, and you were telling me that
I
in the
just have a
mountains
quick.
you're not going all the way straight up. There's actual like little camps and resting spots as you're going up the mountain.
Yes, yes. Mount Kilimanjaro has anywhere from 6 to 8, if I remember, different paths that get to the top, and they're rated from easy to hard. We took one that was in the middle. That we took one
You
that
was
was.
adventurous.
What's up?
Wow.
I said you
So
was feeling
cool.
adventurous.
Oh, of course. I mean, to me, again, just stepping foot off that plane, knowing I'm in the continent of Africa, that
Right.
just that just right there just hyped me up about everything.
Wow.
Um, but even prior to landing in Africa, I had symptoms of being sick here at home. And to me, it felt like a normal lupus type of symptoms, fatigue, a little bit of swelling, and weakness. But then normally I get back up and I'm good the next day. So didn't think it was anything severe enough to be hospitalized at all. So I pushed on and went to the trip. And like I said, at the waterfall is when I started feeling it. Day one for the hike of Mount Kilimanjaro, day one, Mount Kilimanjaro, I started the hike with the family and the guides and the porters. The guides and the porters mainly took a lot of big stuff. I had about 30, 35 pounds on my back of my things that I needed to carry. Um, and that was going well. The first camp that I got to was a little bit more of the same heart pumping style. So I took a slower pace, but I made it to camp one, but I felt it. It was the distance between camp 1 and 2
Mm-hmm.
where Camp 2 was as high as 13,000 feet. And that was more of not just a heart pumping, but then now my breath started, I had rapid breathing now. And so I'm thinking, okay, let me just slow it down more. Let me drink some water. And
Mm-hmm.
when I noticed I was drinking water, I noticed that it got worse. It got worse. Now, getting to Camp 2, making it there,
Mm-hmm.
barely breathing. It was so hard to breathe. I literally felt that before I get to Camp 2, I'm gonna take my last breath because my breaths was seconds in between each breath to where I didn't know if I was gonna be able to take in air on the next one. So Camp 2, when we finally got there, the porters saw the condition I was in, and every single person that had, messaged me, commented on any of my posts about me going to Africa, told me to listen to my body. When the guides and the porters thought that it wouldn't be a good idea to continue because of my
Mm-hmm.
health, not only I listened to my body, but I listened to them. 5 years ago, I would have been like, I'm good. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. But no, I'm so much smarter and wiser now that I did not continue to go on. When I slept at the Camp 2 at 13,000 feet, waking up the next morning was only a couple hours later. It was really hard for me to move. Period. My body was shutting down on me completely. So they decided to take me down by stretcher instead of walking down. So I agreed with that. I was still so incoherent that I didn't know exactly what was going on. One
Mm-hmm.
of the biggest mistakes I made was leaving one of my bags with the camp that had my medication. So they brought me down, and their instructions were to bring me down into the hotel, and then a doctor would be with me. Unfortunately, a doctor wasn't there, and I lost a whole day and a half of being in a hotel by myself where nobody even knew where I was. Damien had a satellite phone, but my phone had no service.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
had no service. Chanel, who I was talking to every single day, just about until the climb, because of the reception on the mountain, she didn't hear from me for 2 days and didn't know where I was. Neither did Damien. And
Oh my
so
God.
it was wild. It was wild. Unfortunately, I was in that hotel room. I was sick, unconscious. Nobody knew where I was until Chanel called different hotels in Moshi or in Tanzania, Moshi, where we were. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm taking in what you're saying. Go ahead.
And so when she finally got a hold of somebody that knew where I was, a man, they tried to extort her for money to ask her to find me. She needed to pay because the guy
What?
apparently knew where I was. But yeah, he told her that. And of course, Nell wasn't going for that. She decided to talk about, no, you're going to tell me where you're at. I will get a hold of the U.S. Embassy, this and that, and this and that. And so they finally came to their senses. And he didn't even continue to look for me. He just gave the phone back to the lady that was at the hotel. So the lady said, yes, I think he's here, but we haven't seen him in a couple of days. He hasn't came out to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I haven't eaten in almost the 2 days I was unconscious out there. And they finally got into my room and saw me there. She had told them go in his room and make sure he's breathing, make sure he's okay. And when they found me there, I was barely even up. I mean, who knows if they didn't find me, what would have happened? But then they called the doctors, and the doctor came. They did pick me up and took me to a hospital. So I was grateful to be found at least. And then in that time, I lost like 12 pounds. I really got small and I lost a lot of weight. Um, Once I got into the hospital, I was there for 4 days. And from there, the best that they can do for me was give me IV treatment. And they did try to give me steroids, the prednisone, because they knew I had autoimmune disease. And that's their
Yeah.
only like answer at the time. Just give him prednisone and hope he's okay. So I mean, it was a wild way how that happened, and then the experience of being, in a hotel for 2 days, in the hospital for 4 days, without the different. I'm so used to the medical care out here.
Yeah.
hospitals, beeping
Yeah.
machines, nurses coming in. I was literally in the hospital room. The doctor only saw me once a day, which was every morning. But other than that, I was in this dark room with no machines, no nurses coming in. It was wild. It was wild.
So it is really like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's really very limited.
Very limited, definitely very limited. But at the same time, they didn't know much about,
How to
the
treat you.
doctor heard of lupus, but wasn't familiar with it enough to know what he had to do. He just know that I was very deprived of food and water, so they gave me an IV.
Yeah.
Uh, and then because it's an autoimmune disease that I was able to tell them, then they did give me some steroids, which the prednisone did kind of help me,
Yeah.
come to a little bit more. I was
Mhm.
able to sit up on the side of my bed after day 2, I think,
Yeah.
and me, the way I am, it's like, okay, what do I got to do to get out of here, get my strength back? So I'm trying to stand up, sit down, make sure my mind is coherent, make sure I can do everything. And once I got to a point where I felt I was coherent enough, I told the doc, it's like, hey, I got to go. I mean, if you guys, I need to find out when my meds are. I got a lot of medication to take. And, but didn't have any other problems other than the hard to breathe, and my heart was racing a lot faster than I felt that was normal. It was wild.
So
Wow.
probably what happened with the fluid was building up in your body, and it was forcing your heart to beat faster because it's trying to stabilize it. And so that was probably like tachycardia. So the blood pressure, everything probably was off, and they wasn't treating you with anything but like prednisone because they didn't know what to give you. Is that what I'm hearing? Because that's what I thought.
You're
Maybe they,
exactly right,
so
Delibra.
you wasn't getting anything like any type of immunopressant drugs at all.
No, no. And remember, I was also, because I already had a transplant, I was on anti-rejection medications as well.
Cellsep. Were you taking
Cellcept
Cellsep? Yeah.
and
So
tacrolimus. Yep, I was on
Was
all of.
that something that you take permanently once you get a transplant, just for life?
Yes,
yes, and
Oh,
also for people who haven't had a transplant, I currently take Cellsep because I have nephritis.
yep, that's exactly
So
right.
you
Along with
can't.
hydroxychloroquine, along with metformin, along with all my other meds, I was kind of deprived of them the whole time I was in that hospital. But
That,
it's not to. So what I want to make clear too, though, is that Africa had nothing to do with my current situation now, and I'll explain that. When I was on the mountain, the reason why I had the heart problem of breathing is because of high altitude pulmonary edema, which is HAPE.
hmm
If you guys are familiar with that, you can look it up. It's just that when your body, it's because of the high altitude. And like you had said, Delibra, I was literally drowning in my own self with the water I was drinking was going straight to my lungs, filling it
yeah.
up. And because it was hard to breathe, yes, you're right. The heart compensates for that and is working overtime, big time.
hmm
So I was having a bad, and prior to what, maybe in the mid 2000s, I've already had restricted lung disease and I had heart failure already with those organs. So I just kind of like woke things up that was quiet for such a long time. When I got treated and everything and gone to the hospital, we took the trip back home, 20 plus hours airline flight. I was so sick up in the air and just kind of relating it only to high altitude again when you're in a plane. I was
Yeah.
throwing up all the whole time and losing all the weight and throwing up all the water I was taking in. And when I got home, I got home a little bit after midnight. I came back. We had to go straight to the emergency room like 3 or 4 hours later. That's when they told me
hmm
I was kidney failure. So the hate, excuse me, is what caused me to have the problem on the mountain with my lungs and my heart. But then it elevated the symptoms, I believe, and the doctors kind of called it too, that I already had, even going before going to Africa, where I was already in rejection mode of my kidney.
I think you've hit. Listening to you, I think you hit several things, and I think that within the lupus community, especially when we have like long periods of doing extremely well, that we do have to take in consideration our medical history in the past. Like you said something about your lungs. Like for me personally, lupus, it attacked my lungs in the past. And so as I was listening to your story about edema and how you had the fluid in your lungs and all of that, because of the high altitude, it just reminded me of so many things that we do face and we don't take into consideration when we do certain things. But that's why education is so important. I'm glad we're having this conversation because like recently, like we go hiking sometime with my family, and I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my God, I never even thought about that. And when I was mentioning it to my aunt, she was like, yeah, I just knew when we were at a certain point it was too difficult. I was like, I'm done. But I didn't have anything as extreme like what you experienced, but it just reminded me that we do have to be mindful of those things, that sometimes because we do walk miles and we, somewhat normal as we can be with lupus anyway, that we do have to take into consideration. So I'm just glad that you're sharing your story. I'm glad you're okay. And that was a scary
So
experience.
glad that you're okay. My gosh, we've all been so worried about you. Do you
Well,
think the elevation triggered something that was already happening that maybe would have taken a couple years to really feel, or do you feel that this was just the timing of everything?
I think it was just the timing. I mean, even if I didn't take the trip, eventually I would have still had, my body was going into rejection anyway. So, and keep in mind, I've gone 9.5 years with a kidney donated to me. And I'm just blessed to even go that far. Since this time I had put out, I had kidney failure, a lot of people reached out to me that, 9.5 years is a long time compared to my 3 kidney failures in 5 years. So, my prayers go out to everybody that's going through anything like this. And, keep in mind that there's definitely hope out there. We just all have to work as a community to see what we can do to keep them, one, inspired and lifted up. One. Two, when things are happening like this, donating and resources is what's needed. We all may have them that we just don't know may help this person or not, but we need to be vocal about it. So I'm hoping that once my registry goes out and people test for me that wants to donate, if they're not a match for me, maybe they could be a match for somebody else and save a life somewhere else. So it's kind of the whole point of us in this community. We all try to do this, and I'm tired of seeing funerals of people passing away in our community of every
Yeah.
time I'm opening up social media. We got to do what we can to help out, and just us being voices is helping, and it's a step. Believe it or not, it's a step.
So, Ahmed, if anyone wants to see if they would be compatible to give you a kidney, what would they need to do?
It would more likely just test at a facility close to them, which I have not been given that information out just yet. They're so concentrating on keeping my blood stable and making sure that I'm okay to do home dialysis, where that's their priority right now. They know I need a kidney. They're looking for me to have family members that would be almost a good, place. My brother already gave me one, so unfortunately I can't go through him. My son is so eager to get ready to test. He's just waiting. But at the same time, I'm waiting for the information to be given to me so I can put it out there.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing that with you guys as soon as possible. I mean, we have 5,000 members. I'm sure someone would be willing to test to give you a kidney. You've been such a light in our community, and your light needs to keep shining. So we will do what we can to find you a kidney. And in the meantime, you guys, Saturday is a huge day. So in the last few months, Emmett opened up his nonprofit. He's always had male lupus warriors, but he got his official registration for being a nonprofit. And this will be the very first gala of its kind in history, actually. Male Lupus Warriors non-for-profit first gala is going to be October 1st in San Diego. And if anyone wants to get tickets to that, Emmett, did you want to share the information?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I am in collaboration with the 7 Summits of Lupus and the Lupus Dream Team, where the 3 of us, including my man Dion Langley and Damian Scott, we got together in Virginia. At the time, we were on a Howard Hewitt stage talking about lupus. That was such a blast to do that. And then for us to get together to talk about, hey, we need to have something for the community. And here comes the gala. Before you know it, this coming Saturday. So we decided to put on an event for Lupus Warriors, by Lupus Warriors, and supporters of anybody that would just want to come out and see. I mean, I'm going to tell y'all now, y'all got to see the suit that I'm going to wear. And I'm just going to put it at that. Just leave it.
I've seen some of your purple outfits.
Well, somebody needs to FaceTime me or send me some video or something. I need some
we
videos,
got you.
some FaceTime, something.
We actually will be going live because Lupus Glitter is going to be donating the first skincare for the male malar rash.
Yes.
So we had butterfly nectar for the butterfly rash, and I was inspired with a conversation from Emmett, who loves the butterfly nectar, but he's like, what about the guys with this whole butterfly thing going on? And so we're going to be launching at his gala and donating the Wolf Balm, which is the first male skincare for the malar rash. So super exciting.
And I'm definitely excited with that too. The gala, we're definitely going to have free giveaways at the gala. This is going to be a formal, semi-formal event, suit and tie and all that good stuff. The ladies wearing gowns. It's like, I've already seen some of the beautiful purple dresses that some of them brought to me. Like, this is what I'm wearing. This is what I'm wearing. This is what I'm wearing. I'm like,
yeah, I got my purple dress already. I told my business partner, he better at least get a purple tie. So he's out hunting around for a purple tie. I'm like, have you seen Emmett's purple shoes? Like, you have to at least have a purple tie. So he's showing up in purple to honor and commemorate all the work that you guys are doing.
Hey, and I'm gonna put it out there, guys. We can look fly in purple too, and I'm sure the women will agree with it. So don't think it's an odd or different color. Not at all. We rock it. This is what we talk about all the time. So, and back, with the gala, like I said, it's gonna be a buffet style catered. It's gonna be catered. Nice. We are going to have a celebrity speaker, and Miss Laura Hayes, who is one of the queens of comedy. She also played in Beauty Shop with Queen Latifah as her mom, and she is also known as the Miss Queen of Weed. So she is going to talk about some benefits for things like that can help us all in pain. And then one of our own Lupus Warriors, Sherry Withers, is going to be performing as she does for her role as Whitney Houston, and performing 2 inspiring songs that is just going to uplift everybody in the house. We have a DJ as well. We're going to have a raffle. We're going to have prizes and just things that are, just, again, a way to uplift people, to give them something to, talk about, to give them something to remember that, hey, guys get lupus as well, and we can also put on events as well.
I love that. That's going to be great.
So you have a few comments. So you guys, if you're not able to sign into StreamYard and give permission, it won't show your name. So if you do a comment, try to put your name. But lots of love in here for you, Emmett. Lots of laughs. Everybody's super proud of everything that you're doing for the lupus community, and we're so glad to call you a friend. And we're happy that you got to have this experience and to raise all this awareness in Africa for lupus and all the community work that you're doing for the male lupus community. So
thank you. And it's an honor.
If any of our members want to contact you that maybe don't know a way to get a hold of you, or they want to come to Gala, what is the best way for them to reach you?
You guys can follow me on social media. On Facebook, I'm under my name, is how I got started, under Emmett Henderson III, as it's written under my picture there. And then on Instagram, I'm at Male Lupus Warriors. You can see it there. Or you could also email me, malelupuswarriors@gmail.com.
And don't forget to check out his amazing Male Lupus Warriors shirts and all of his bracelets. And he makes a lot of stuff for the male community. And we're just so happy to call you a friend and to have you lighting your light for all the males that didn't want to talk about it for so long. As to me, I always, when I'm educating people on lupus, I always mention the fact that a while ago, like even Seal would let people think that he was burned in a fire rather than letting people know that he had lupus, because years ago it was thought of to be contagious, similar to catching AIDS on a toilet seat or through a lipstick. And for males to only be 10% of that percentile and to be thought of as a mostly female disease, Emmett's doing a lot of work alongside Dion Langley to just create this awareness and to create a whole support phenomenon for males, and to have now this charity gala and to even light the way for the male lupus, butterfly rash, malar rash, skin condition, to have a skincare that's manly. Your work is amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Also, don't want to mention that you could also look at my website at malelupuswarriors.org. It's a website that has my merchandise on there for you guys to look at that. If you haven't pretty much heard my whole story, I have my bio on there going back to 1980. It's all on there, so you can read about me there. And another thing I want to put out, though, is that during my time of being sick and in the hospital, the love that poured out to me is the reason why I get to smile today, is the reason why I get to say thank you and I love you all today, because for everything that I have done in the community, I look at it as a gift of God to give me to be able to do for you. But to see it reciprocated back in my time of need and my time being down, I know that this is family. I know that what we do for each other is uplifting. So if anybody is out there that thinks that they are by themselves, that thinks that they are going through rough times and rough patches, okay, I'm not saying that I'm proof of being able to get up. I'm saying you are proof that you can get yourself back up, but it starts within you. But you have us and a whole community behind you to help you out. So reach out to me if you have anything you want to talk to me about. You want to, just pick my brain about something. I might want to pick your brain about something. So let's talk. Do not ever feel there's nobody out there that you can talk to. And ladies, for you two I saw the live that y'all did late on me. I thank you so much. I love you guys for that. And again, this is why I do what I do on my personal journey to help out anybody I can in the lupus autoimmune community.
We hope some of you guys can join us this weekend out in San Diego for this very special black tie affair for the lupus community. And if not, we're always here for you in all of our lupus groups, and we are family. So,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here, Emmett, and we're so glad that you're okay. And I will see you Saturday, and you guys will be going live in Lupus Glitter with the first male skincare to treat the malar rash. And you can find that on flowerpowerbathco.com. And Emmett, thank you so much for inspiring that and bringing all these male issues to the light in the lupus community.
Thank you. Love you all. Love you all.
Love you back.
Fly free.
Pretty baby. Pretty baby. I've been waiting for so long, girl, yeah, to be with you alone, girl, yeah. Move your back against the wall, girl. Don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl, no. You don't